Good morning, sweet dreamers. Oh, sorry, my voice is a little rough. I guess that's really the first time I've talked this morning. Let me take a sip of tea. It might be too hot. That's better. So today it was worship and gratitude in the book. And I don't know why, but this one always seems to hit me right where I need it. For example, this morning I woke up and I just had this lingering question, like, how can I really be confident? If you know me well, you know that I generally struggle with just confidence, and even though I know that I'm good at what I do, I always just think, oh, well, I'm not as good as that person, or all of those things. And it's that comparison thing, but I think it's a little bit deeper than that. Confidence has just never been my strong suit. Um, Unless it was something super measurable, like after high school when grades were how you measured. After that, I had no confidence because that was how I measured myself. Um, and so I've just sort of wrestled with that the last few days, like genuine confidence that isn't arrogance. Hi, Teresa. Oh, I'm glad I'm not alone. Um, and and then it made me wonder, like, so why am I not confident, right? And I think it's because um, I look around me and I see people who are doing really well, and I just assume that they're better at this than I am because they're making money or they're doing these things and or that thing and making a big impact, and I'm not doing that, so they must be better than I am. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. And so and so I get that rationally, right? Like I could just be really good at this, but I'm just not there yet, which is totally fine too. Like I don't need to be making millions of dollars. I don't even know that I want that. And then I open the book today for prayer, and it's talking about worship and gratitude, um, and it made me realize, like, literally the first thing that I wrote down, and this was as I was doing, I didn't pray much outside of the prayer in the book because I felt like it was just so right on for me right now. But I said, this is the problem of my life. I'm looking at all the people and problems around me and not at God instead. And that's the thing, is that our confidence comes from Him. Our confidence comes from the trust that we have in Him. So if He has called me to this, which I believe He has, why can't I be confident that He will do that? Why can't I be confident that if I don't have the skills now, that coupled with Him, I will have the skills to help people? Why can't I be confident? I can, because that's where it comes from, right? And so that was just one thing I was like, oh. So stop looking at myself and start looking at God, and things will just I think things will start lining up a little bit better. So I'm going to it's a personal challenge for me to try to keep more on track with worship and gratitude over the next few weeks, months, well, over my lifetime. That would be great. Okay, so that was really what struck me. And then another thing was that, like, I want to build my nest in your holy rafters. I don't know why, that's just a beautiful line. And I thought, oh, that's how close I want to be to God. Like, to just feel like I'm in His dwelling all the time. Because I don't know if you've ever just experienced, like, maybe it was camp when you were a kid, or like an amazing sermon, like when you were an adult, something like that, that really, it makes you feel like you just want to sit in that moment forever, right? And that's and what's crazy is we actually have God in us all the time. So we have that access to Him and to His power and all of that all the time. But we feel like we're far away. Um, and so, but it's a choice, right? There will be times when you just are in a wilderness. You're going to feel like He's far away. But the choice is to continue to draw near to him. That's the choice. The temptation is to pull away, like in our humanness, we pull away from people who we feel like are pulling away from us. Like we don't chase people that we feel like will hurt us or don't want to be around us. That's just not our natural thing. Some of us do at times in our lives because everyone has unhealthy things that happen at different times. But I feel like one thing that I'm not great at is, in life, as soon as someone else starts pulling away, I start pulling away. That's just how I am. And so I feel like that is definitely translated to my spiritual life. Like if I don't feel like God is with me and I'm having this amazing like hilltop experience all the time, that then I don't need to draw nearer to him because he's just taking his time and coming back to me. And that's just so silly because he's there all the time. So why not have that? Like we are the ones that can be holding ourselves back from that kind of experience all the time because we're not choosing to draw near. And I think that happens in life too, right? And even this goes back to the confidence. Like sometimes you can look at the same situation and see it in a positive way or in a negative way. And I think sometimes the choice that we make is to see it in the negative or to see it in that other way and not actively approach things in that positive way. And so I think this is one of those same things. Like when we feel far, instead of staying far, we should draw near to him. So that was one thing. I'm really just going to go through this prayer and like I kept all of these, I wrote down a few lines that I loved. So to build my nest in your holy rafter so that we're near to him all the time. Another one that I read that I loved was I cannot keep silent. And again, this sort of feels like it translates to business really well. Like when we think about it, or even in your life, right? Have you ever tried a diet or workout program that you loved? Have you ever tried a course or worked with a coach or whatever that is that you loved? Have you ever had the best creme brulee you've ever had at that restaurant that you loved? Like you didn't sit there and not tell people about it, right? Like you actually told people. You got out. You told people, hey, Natalia, oh, you're up early. You got out and you told people about it. Like we're evangelists all the time, just not for God most of the time, right? Like, and I get that. Please know that I'm right there with you. I'm like the shyest introvert you'll ever meet. I don't like this is really strange that I'm super comfortable doing this. I think it's because I feel good with you guys. But know that when worship is part of your life, it becomes sort of an overflow into everything. So you have a hard time keeping silent. And it also reminded me of, like, a lot of times people will say, like, keep a file of all the good things that you've done or good things that people have said about you, not just for using, but to, like, encourage you and remember who you are and what you've done, even on bad days, right? Some people call it a smile file. I just keep, like, a Word document with little things like that. And it made me think, like, I haven't really devoted myself much to keeping, like, a gratitude list, a worship list, like, what has God done for me, so that I can remember and know that, like, in those times where I'm feeling shaky and confident and unconfident and all those things, that I can look at that and go, oh, well, God has done X, Y, Z. Of course he's going to come through here. I can be confident in that. So you don't have to be confident in yourself. You have to be confident in God's ability and desire to use you. But eventually I think that becomes confidence in yourself, because, and not in a bad way, and in that same sort of surrendered way. So yeah, that's what I want. That's one assignment I want for you guys to do, is to have a list of all that God has done for you. It's going to be a long list, and it's going to be a thing in progress, right? Like, just like you might list out all of your accomplishments so that you can share them online or in your business or with potential clients, stuff like that. But you can look at a list of all that God has done so that you feel like when you're looking around at all the people and problems around you, you can say, you know what, I need to stop this. I need to look at who my God is, and that's enough. And then that becomes praise. So instead of worry, it turns into worship. And that's a great thing. That's exactly where you want to be. That's where I'm working to be, is instead of being a worrier, I'm going to be a worshiper so that I can just always remember from where my strength comes, and that's from God. And so just the last thing that I wrote down was keep my eyes ever on you. And I wrote like, yes, with a big exclamation point. And that's really what it is that I keep turning my head, right? Looking at what's here and not what's there. And that's where I get stuck. And so that's my prayers, that I will keep my eyes ever on him and draw near to him and just remember all that he has done so that I cannot keep silent. And so I cannot keep silent, not only about what he's done for me, but what I believe he's going to do through me, what I believe he's called me to do, and that I can just be open and honest and confident in that and not feel like, why me? Why not me? Why is this not working for me? What is this? What is that? Because that's not the focus. The focus is to do what God has asked you. So, okay, that's all about the prayer. I gave you a little sneak peek of what verse I'd be choosing for this for today's lesson from here. Psalm 103, 2-5. So, and I have a story about this. So let me read it first. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your iniquity, who heals all your diseases, who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with steadfast love and mercy, who satisfies you with good so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. And so when we talk about like making a list of all God has done, like that's a list of like almost like covers most of what God has done, you know, that he's healed us, he has rescued us from the pit, he has renewed our lives, he redeems us, he crowns us with steadfast love and mercy. Like all of those things are his benefits, the things that he's given to each of us. And so it's just such a great list to have with you to reflect, to remember who God is in your life. And that's why I'm really excited about memorizing it, going back and memorizing the whole thing. Later in that chapter, it talks about, I don't remember, something about like, it's part of like the sin east and west thing, which is kind of cool. So there's just a lot of good stuff in that chapter. It's only 10 verses, so that's what I'm committed to memorizing this month. And so when we talk about making a list of the things that he's done, that's one of those things. And actually the first time I read this, it was back in March or April probably. I had a friend who had just she had thyroid cancer a year or two ago. They got all of it, but she has to go back for regular scans. And when she went back for a scan, they found some more spots in her throat and a little bit in her lungs, which is what they didn't want. So, I mean, that was just a big blow. Like, imagine, right, if you've ever experienced something like that, like, you finally get cured from something and it comes back, which they knew that it might. Like, she just lives with that reality, and they found the spots, and so they were gonna do another test to look at them more closely, in a few weeks, and this was right around the time that I was reading this, and I read... So we, of course, have been praying for her, and I read, like, he heals all your diseases. And I don't know, well, it was just the Holy Spirit in me that I sent that to her. I was like, I know that it's a hard place to be, and so I don't want this to be uncomfortable or you feel like it's, because, you know, it's easy for that kind of thing to feel trite and insensitive, because if God chooses not to heal that, then it's hard, right? But which is normally the thought process I would have gone through, but I just didn't. I sent it to her. She was like on a hiking trip, and I was like, I read this today, I thought of you, and I just felt like I need to send it. Anyway, she goes into the doctor the next week, and the spots are gone. So it could have been that the last read was not totally accurate, or it could have been that something else, but like, I believe that God healed her, right? Because he heals all of our diseases. I don't feel like he would have given us that message if that wasn't the case. And so just know that God is alive and active and doing those things all the time. Um, so why won't he do those things for you too? That's really what I want you to take away is why won't he do those things? So make your list of things and just remember, one, to worship instead of worry, and two, to stop looking at everyone else and start looking at God so that you do worship instead of worry. And three, remember the things that he has done for you so that you have confidence in your future because he is with you and working on your behalf and doing great things in your life at every moment, even when it doesn't seem like it. So just know that he's there. I'm really looking forward to seeing your reflections too. I know this, it's funny, I wrote down the very least I've ever written down, but I think this is probably the longest I've talked. But it was just a really good, this is one of my favorite ones. Oh, good, Jennifer, glad. So anyway, I will catch you guys later. I'm going to finish my tea, let the dog in, and ease into a little bit of work on this Saturday morning. So I will catch you around. Please share your reflections. I've loved seeing a few of them come through, and I really love to see even more of what the Lord is teaching you. All right, talk to you later. Bye.